Let's open it up now for politics, because ultimately these decisions have to be taken by our politicians both at the center and in the states. How will they insulate us from the oil shock? What will it take to keep oil prices in check? Joining us now on our face-off today are Shama Mohammed of the Congress Party and Sanju Verma, the BJP spokesperson. Appreciate both of you joining us. Shama Mohammed, it's all very well for the opposition to protest and say it's the Modi government that is responsible for hiking oil prices after 137 days. The fact is, and I have the figures here, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Tamil Nadu, all ruled by opposition, but particularly the first four, and Mumbai, Maharashtra in particular, petrol at 111.67 paise per litre, diesel at 95.85 per litre. That's largely because of the VAT structure that your state governments have. So you can criticize the Modi government, but what is your government doing in these opposition-ruled states to insulate the consumer from these rising fuel prices?
Okay, Rajdeep, you have to give me some time. Let me give you my reply on that. Now, in the parliament, the Minister of Petroleum, Mr. Hardeep Puri, said we import less than 1% from Russia, but that's a lot, and he gave the figures of 2020. But in 2022, in February itself, we have imported at discounted rate 3 million barrels, right? That is much way ahead of 2021. And in March itself, on a single day, we have imported 360 barrels at a discounted rate. So my question is, what is this discounted rate? Why is it not passed on to the public? Number two, on the 24th is when the invasion happened of Feb, when the war took place. And by 28th, the price of oil had gone up, the crude oil. Why then did he wait till now? Why not increase it by the 4th or 5th of March? Because the election results were on the 10th and the final phase was on March 7th. So basically the BJP government not only robs the people of India, but they also cheat the people of India.
No, one minute. Had they raised it on the 4th or 5th of March, you would have said that the government is again burning a hole in people's pocket. You're shifting the goalposts. I asked you a question. Why is it that if I compare the fuel prices in BJP-ruled states with those of UPA-ruled states, fuel prices are making a bigger hole in the pockets of people in UPA-ruled states?
Rajdeep, I'm coming to that. No, please give me my time. I want to come to that. That's what I'm coming to it. 137 days, they did not increase. They did it right now because the elections are over. Number three, what Mr. Vikram Singh Mehta said about revenues. They want to shore up revenues. Yes, they got from GST in the month of February 132,000 crores, 32 lakh crores, not thousand, from GST, which is 26% higher than last year and 25% higher than pre-COVID days. So they also are collecting indirect taxes. That's again to the poor. Through GST, they've got revenues. And the fourth most important point, in 2014, also it was $108 a barrel. But our excise duty at that point of time was for diesel 3.4 and for petrol 9.4. But the most important point, in 2020, when the oil price, crude oil price hit $50 a barrel, they increased it at 2014. It was as soon as they came in, they made it 18 rupees per litre, the excise duty. They increased it in 2020 when it was $50 to 32 rupees for diesel and 33 rupees for petrol.
What they did in the past is fine. You have not answered why your own governments are also... No, madam,
let me finish, Rajdeep.
No, you're not answering the question.
Petrol has been deregulated. Let me finish, Rajdeep. Let me ask her to keep my final point, please. And you can start.
No, let her finish her final point, Sanju. I'll come to you.
Let me finish.
This woman is going on and on. She has no clue about the economy.
This is not done, Rajdeep. I don't like the way she
Okay, Sanju Verma, let her finish her point. She's not answering my central question. Tell me, why does a state like Maharashtra and Rajasthan not pass off the benefit to consumers? Quick point. Please don't now drone on.
When the petrol and diesel has been deregulated and the petrol and diesel prices go down, why isn't the government passing this on to the public in 2020? Every time when after deregulation it goes down, they increase the price.
Okay, you're not answering my question as to why state governments are not doing it either. Now, Shama Mohammed, you've had your time. You've had your time. Producer. Okay, now let's go to Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, the point is that at one level you claim oil marketing companies are autonomous. that these companies will go by global oil prices for 137 days between November and March, when global oil prices went up by $30 a barrel, the government did not touch oil prices. Elections over, within 10 days, the customer is back to facing hikes. So let's first accept that there is a fiction that our oil marketing companies are truly autonomous. Government does what suits them politically, yes or no?
Rajdeep, I need my time because
Yes.
I've been waiting patiently. Okay. I don't want to be interrupted, and I'm sure you will do the
Yeah, you
moderation
should not have
likewise.
interrupted her either, but please go ahead.
I interrupted when she went on for 5 minutes and did not answer your question.
Okay.
I waited patiently for 5
No,
minutes, Rajdeep.
Shama Mohammed, you will not speak now, please.
Please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Rajdeep, thank you. First and foremost, I want to make one thing very clear. I am not saying that petrol and diesel prices have gone up only because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. No. Petrol, diesel prices have been rising for a while. There was a gap of 137 days, post which 2 consecutive days we saw 80 basis points rise in prices. But one thing which we need to understand, which is the nub and the crux of the argument, Rajdeep, and I'm glad you're holding this show because that will bust a lot of myths. The general perception is that the central government is making hay while the sun shines and making a huge amount of money at the expense of the common man, which is wrong. And I challenge anybody from the opposition to correct me if I'm giving out false data, because that is the lame argument the opposition comes up with when they cannot contest me on facts. Assuming the price of petrol per litre, Rajdeep, is 100 rupees, you and me as consumers pay 45.30, 45 rupees 30 paise as taxes, out of which prima facie 29 rupees goes to the central government and 16 rupees 30 paise goes to the state government. But
Yes.
here is the catch. And the catch is that finally, as per the 15th Finance Commission recommendation, out of the 29 rupees which the center makes, 41% is again distributed back to the state, which means that out of the initial 45 rupees 30 paise tax which you and me pay, the central government collects, hear this very clearly, the central government collects only 17 rupees 11 paise. The state government eventually end up making 28 rupees 19 paise.
Ma'am, you did not, like Shama Mohammed, you also escaped from answering the question I asked. Ma'am, I asked you a question that do you concede that oil prices were hostage to electoral politics for 137 days? While global oil prices were rising, the government did not touch the consumer. The moment the elections are over, you're passing on the burden to the consumer. Yes, eventually part of the benefit does go to the states, but the fact is the government needs to find a more rational way of ensuring that deregulation truly takes place. You're not doing that.
Rajdeep, I barely spoke for 1.5 minutes. You interjected with a second question. Please, may I finish my point? You're free to disagree and rebut. I will just say one thing. For everybody who says that there is electoral politics, who left us with oil bonds worth 3 lakh crore rupees? The Congress government. Finally, who is making more money at the cost of the ordinary citizens? It is state governments like Rajasthan. Tell me one thing. After the Modi government reduced excise on petrol and diesel by 5 and 10 rupees, you had Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Gujarat reducing prices, basically the VAT by 13 rupees, somebody by 17 rupees, somebody by 12 rupees. Do you know how much Chhattisgarh has reduced VAT by? 1%. Do you know Maharashtra has still not reduced VAT on petrol and diesel? Do you know how much has Chhattisgarh, how much has Rajasthan reduced VAT by? Only 4%. Why can't Rajasthan reduce VAT on petrol by 17% like Uttar Pradesh? Why can't Chhattisgarh reduce VAT on petrol and diesel by 13% like Gujarat? Why can't Jharkhand, which is supported by the Congress, reduce VAT on petrol and diesel by 12% like Himachal Pradesh? So sitting here in television studios and saying we feel for a common man, but your Ashok Gehlot government, your Bhupesh Baghel government in Chhattisgarh, the Maha Vikas
Ma'am,
Adani,
the difference is marginal.
These people
Can
have
I
not
come in?
reduced VAT on petrol and diesel.
Okay.
Rajdeep,
They are making
Rajdeep,
hay
can
while
you
the
come
sun shines. And one more thing, Rajdeep, I'll just quickly wrap up.
Rajdeep, you're not
May
letting
I-
me talk.
Rajdeep, may I quickly wrap up?
Please
May I?
do. Please do.
Okay. Rajdeep, one thing you must ask, which I think no television channel has asked till date. You know that many cars today, including public transport, be it buses,
Ma'am.
What is the VAT on CNG in Uttar Pradesh?
Okay, you made your point. Now, Sanju Verma, you made your point. Let her answer. Let her answer. Let her answer. When you put a question, let the other person answer. Very quickly, Shama Mohammed, respond. You would have more moral authority to corner the government if you at least tried in one of your states to bring VAT down.
So, Rajdeep, we have tried in our states to bring back.
No, you haven't.
She has not answered a very pertinent question. No, Rajdeep, this is not fair.
No, Sanju Verma, now you cannot. Sanju Verma, you're violating the rules. You're on the wrong channel then. No cross talk. She must be allowed to. You ask a question, let her respond very quickly.
Yeah. So, what my main important question today is in 2020, when it was $50 a barrel, when petrol and diesel has been deregulated, why did the government increase the excise duty from 18 rupees to 33 for diesel and 30 for petrol?
That's a fair question.
She doesn't have an answer. Why don't you answer? Why is deregulation not at all passed down to the people? It's always when the petrol prices go up, I mean, the oil price goes up, crude oil, we all have to pay high. But when it goes down, the government sops up the revenue. They get the revenue from GST. And that very important point, which she's not answering.
No,
you know, the gas, wait, let me finish. In 2014,
just relax, Sanju Verma.
I can't debate with this lady, Rajdeep. She's not shutting her mouth. In
Let
2014,
me finish.
Let me finish my point. In 2004, Rajdeep, this is not done.
If you continue like this, my blood pressure will rise and so will that of the viewers. The viewer doesn't benefit when both of you cross talk. Neither of you have answered my central question. The government as a center has to answer whether they are truly committed to deregulation and are finding innovative ways to ensure that perhaps the oil companies are allowed to be autonomous, and the Congress and the opposition needs to start recognizing that you have not brought down VAT in any of your states. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because this is not going to go anywhere. This is not going to go anywhere. I appreciate both of you joining us. I need a new life.